Hey Gerald, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me again, Chris.
No worries. So this is the fifth and possibly final video of this series for songwriters or people getting started on songwriting. I might make something else after this one. Um, there might just be something else, but this is the final one that we've organized, and I've just got a few questions for you, just like the same format as with the other ones.
All right.
Great. Okay, so question one is, when is it okay to make mistakes in songwriting?
It's okay to make a mistake anytime. Mistakes can lead to other things. They open doors. I mean, making mistakes in songwriting is part of the working process. You know, something doesn't work. You listen to it a few times. How did I ever think that sounded good? You know, but making mistakes is all part of the game. You know, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's a right time to make a mistake or a wrong time to make a mistake. If you're playing live, that's another story.
Entirely, indeed. Excellent. And in terms of music, you said before that music should have flaws in it. I literally wrote that down. And what do you mean by that? So how does that contextualize what we're talking about now? Where does that sort of fit in?
Well, I mean, songs are like people, you know. They're imperfect. You know, there's no such thing as a perfect song, just like there's no such thing as a perfect person.
Well, it's subjective, right?
Very subjective. I mean, just because I like a song doesn't mean somebody else is going to like it. Just because I like you doesn't mean somebody else might like you. You know, it doesn't work that way. You know, I mean, songs are subjective, and there's no getting around that. You know,
A
I
good
think
song is in the ear of the beholder, isn't it?
it certainly is. I mean, there are technical things and harmonic things that can make a song really nice, but not. Those are just small parts of it.
So it's kind of the difference between correct and right. You
Yeah,
know, correct to me is you did everything by the book, you followed the rules. But what's right is that maybe you should have broken one of them.
yeah, absolutely.
You
Look,
know, the right thing to do as opposed to the correct thing to do.
look. I remember mixing a song with Aliki, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm hearing the pads and things in the sax cracking." I said, "Yeah, that's part of the instrument. You know, that's part of its sound."
And
Well,
it's so cool that you went to that place actually,
yeah,
with regard to this question, because that's actually a really good example.
that yeah, that is what makes that instrument. I mean, that's part of its imperfection. You know that you in a recording you can hear the pads cracking, you can hear them snapping back, little snaps and pops. That's all part of it. You know, I mean, a lot of people try and get that stuff out, but I say why? It allows you to see that the music was played by somebody.
I love that. Excellent. Well, that answers that question. And I mean, the difference between correct and right actually is something that I think a lot of people don't understand at first. People think that they are exclusive, but over time, when you pursue any one craft over a long period of time and you interact with other people, you discuss it around them, you actually realize that over time that there is a big disparity between the two. Because you can
Oh,
do, especially in mixing and stuff, you could do everything by the book, but the client might not like it, because when push comes to shove, the the beholder is always consuming this stuff subjectively, you know, and then not necessarily analyzing it or anything like that. They're actually just going, does it work? Am I gonna feel it? You know, is the sound going to justify or fully realize what the song is all about? That sort of thing.
I used to play with a drummer who's now passed away, but a very very good drummer. And a lot of times when I would play with him, he would turn to me and say, "You owe me a beat," meaning I had made a mistake somewhere, skipped over a beat or something. And I did a live recording with him once, and he said the same thing to me. And then the engineer said, "Well, let's do it again." He said, "No, no, no, just leave it that way. That's the human touch." And
Wow.
that's missing sometimes in music, you know, especially in songwriting.
So you've said that before, and I think that's where that quote came from, and that's why I brought it up. That you think that's kind of, because I see that in audio all the time as well, and you know, a lot of people just not allowing the flaws and stuff to come through. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hyperbolic about, you know, the songs being perfect. I mean, every beat right on the, everything right on the beat. And you know, sometimes there's nothing better than hearing a guitar player play right in the groove, you know. But
Sure.
playing in the groove is one thing, but little flaws are what make a song sometimes. I listen for them all the time when I hear music.
That's really cool. So listen out for flaws, and I think actually I think that's a good thing, because that will really switch on your analytical mind. It's actually a lot easier to look for flaws than it is for things that are like, oh, is this great? And you know, I always do it with mix reviews. I'm like, okay, try and find the flaws, obviously, whilst trying to realize what's good about it. But that makes for good listening as well, because it's very easy as music listeners for just us to accept the way that a song is because that's the way it came out.
But they don't see the process, and that's the problem for a lot of people. They don't understand or see the process of putting a song together. So, you know, I'm not looking for flaws because I'm looking to criticize the song.
Yeah.
I'm looking for flaws because I want to know, how did they do this song? You know, was it done live? Was this an actual musician playing this? Or, you know, did they just take some loops? Which I have nothing wrong with people using loops and stuff like that. I'm just saying, I just want to see the human angle in the song.
Okay, cool. So you've touched upon something that is very interesting. So I'm going to put that in the category of what do they call them? Supposed sins, right? So I probably should have found a better word, but you know, these supposed sins, vocal tuning, auto-tune, correcting, you know, like auto groove matching and stuff like that.
I think that's a sin. I think it is.
So that one you think is a sin, but what about using
for a couple of reasons? For a couple of reasons.
Okay.
You know, a vocal track is not perfect, and why are you trying to make it perfect? You know, I mean, sometimes a singer is going to get a little out of key. I mean, everybody does it, you know, and I think you're screwing with their performance when you do that. I think sometimes it might, you know, if you're on a big production and you brought someone halfway around the world and they've gone and you can't bring them back in, I mean, budget just doesn't allow for it. Sometimes I can understand that, you know, if you're just doing a little part of the song. But if you have to auto-tune the whole song, chances are you had the wrong singer there.
I think you know, it comes back to like the whole, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because it's so easy to just go to, and I think some of this stuff stems from fear of missing out, or fear of not fitting in, or fear of not doing what the industry wants, which is mostly rubbish in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh well, if I don't do that, if I don't auto-tune it like the big dogs do, am I gonna lose my seat at the top? And it's just like, what?
Yeah, very true.
That's not even remotely how this works, you know. Just because it's there doesn't mean you should do it. And you know, and I say, in terms of audio, I'm like, I'm always trying to assume the simplest, most straight line towards the goal, and not assuming that things need to be fixed.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's a mix, okay, what happens if we just do the faders? Does it sound bad? Why does it sound bad? Solve those problems, as opposed to going, need to solve, you know, need to correct that, and then add it up.
Yeah. See, I did a sax solo for this album once, and when I heard the final, they had auto-tuned my performance, and I was furious. I said, they said, well, you were off key there. I said, I went off key purposely. You know,
man.
I went off key purposely. You took my performance and turned it into shite, you know, and you could have got anybody to, you know, you don't understand, you know, I mean, it's their music, it's their masters. What can I do about it? They paid me, you know, but it ruined my performance. That's why,
fair enough.
you know, I don't, that's why I'm against stuff like that. You know, unless the singer or somebody says, "Yeah, I didn't realize I went off key." If you want to try and fix it, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my attitude towards those things is, look, if it solves a real problem, and by not doing it, you're actually worse off, then do it. But otherwise, don't do it. You know, like if you went flat really badly, and you're just better off being tuned back towards where you should have been, then fine, but otherwise no. Cool. Anyway, that answers the first question.
I thought we were finished.
Each of these questions could be a video, it seems. Okay, so the next question is, how do I know when the song is finished? When to just leave it alone and commit?
Well, there's an old saying, the business of song is never finished. You can just work on a song forever and ever and ever. I mean, there's a point where you've just got to put your shovel down and say, that's it, I'm done. You know?
Okay, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise you'll just spend forever and ever on the song. I know, because I do it all the time. You know, I've come to the point in my writing when I say, okay, spend enough time on this song. You know, I can only change this drum part 50 times, not 60. You know, it's just not, it's not going to get any better, because, you know, you leave a song alone for a week and you come back to it and you say, oh, all those tracks stink, you know? So at some point you just have to learn when to walk away.
So I've brought this up before, but do you believe in saying, look, for example, oh, I'm writing this song, I'm back and forth with it, I really don't want to be umming and ahhing about whether it's finished or not. I'll give myself 1 week and it has to be done by the end of the week. Do you sort of do that? Do you believe that's a good thing to do for sometimes?
No, I never do that. Not unless I'm on a deadline for something. But other than that, no.
So no self-imposed deadlines?
No, I don't do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, some people do, because they'll never finish the song, but you know, I've learned.
Do you get it? Do you get that?
Do I get what?
Do you get why people might do that though?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Because they don't want to let go, that's why. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known people like that who just spend years working on the song, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But I think I've said, lots of people say a song is never done. You know, you'll never be objective about it.
Cool. So do you recommend, you know, maybe sharing the song with people and getting some critique or anything like that to help commit objectively?
I used to. I just get angry when I ask people to critique. So.
Yeah, I think because I actually come across this question quite often, and I think about it quite a lot, because I listen to a lot of people's stuff. And I also talk to a lot of people who have got feedback from other people, and they're like, they're like, oh, now there's all this new stuff in my head. And I'm like, look, when you're getting feedback, get the feedback, but keep it at arm's length. You know, like, take it all with a grain of salt, but also remember who you're asking. Like, if you're asking a friend or a family member, they're basically just going to tell you it's great with no constructive.
Yeah, they're not going to be objective at all.
Yeah.
They're just going to be on your side. You know, they're not going to tell you what's wrong about the piece. You know, they may not hear it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but also on the other side is, if you show it to all your songwriting or producing friends, the problem there is that they're going to feel that they're going to need to exercise their authority on it and deploy an opinion.
That's very true.
You know, and it's like, well, and then you think to yourself, okay, cool, that was some good feedback, but I don't have to do it. But then you have to remember that, oh, actually, my producer friends or my songwriting friends, they're not necessarily my audience either.
You know, I have a friend that I've known for a long time. We started playing when we were very young together. And occasionally I sent him my music. And I remember one time he started going off and giving me this half-hour opinion. And I said, I didn't send it to you for your opinion. I didn't want you to give me a London Sunday Times review on it. I just wanted you to listen to it. That's all. You know. He just went on and on and on. I just got angry, you know. It's like I don't send him stuff anymore.
He gave you a column, basically.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I have one or two people that I'll send my music to because I know they'll be objective and I respect what they'll say. If they tell me that the bass line stinks, then I believe them. But a lot of people I mean, I'm just not looking for a critique, you know. I don't need a pat, and I don't need a pat on the back either. You know, I mean, although that's what we do music for, let's face it. You know, we're feeding our egos. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And anybody who says they're not is, you know, is lying.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So that answers the second question. Definitely one of the longer videos. This next question is kind of related to the last one. And anyway, it's how do I create closure in a song?
How do you create closure in a song? I mean, I'm not sure I know what you mean. I mean, are you talking about working on the song or actually finishing a song? You know, like an outro, you mean?
Yeah, so the actual inside the song.
Inside the song.
Mm.
I don't know. I think generally when I write a song, I always put it like, you know, I'll say, you know, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro, or whatever. You know, I'm always thinking about an ending on the song. And one thing I don't like to do on songs is I think songs should always have beginnings and ends. You know, I think fading a song out is a cop-out. It means that you couldn't figure out a way to end the song. So
that's what I mean.
What kind of a songwriter are if you can't figure out? You figured out the beginning of the song and the middle of the song. Why can't you figure out the end of the song? You know, I just think that I hate fading out songs.
So how do you do it?
How do I do it?
How do you figure that out?
Usually, always rhythmically. Usually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, or if I have an interesting sound that's happening in the music, maybe a synth or something that has strange sounds to it that could take the song to conclusion, I'll do that. I always like to put something weird at the end of the song. It's
might have noticed that before.
It's just the way I like to end songs, you know. It means I've actually ended it.
You know, there have been times when Aleki and I have sat down and been mixing one of your songs, and then a random something solo happens at the end, and then we look at each other and we're like, Gerald.
I got time for one more solo here.
It's it's known amongst us as Because Gerald.
Because Gerald.
Yeah, because Gerald, you know. So I suppose the answer to that question is you'll figure it out, hack at it, and experiment with it.
Yeah, I think one of my composition teachers in university told me you should always finish and start the song. And that got burnt into my head, and I've never let go of it. So, and I know lots of people who just always want to, I would just fade it out. It's a lot easier. Why? You know, I mean, sometimes if you have a guitar solo at the end of a song to fade it out, that's not bad. You know, but I think ending a song is a rite of passage in writing that song. And I think it should be a part of it.
Do you think it's one of the more challenging parts of writing a song? Would you have empathy for someone who's like, I just can't finish songs. I can't seem to wrap it up and create that sound of closure, like it's going to end now. This is it.
Empathy? I wouldn't exactly call it empathy, but I understand. You know, some people just don't have that in them.
Fair enough.
But I think those are part of tools of writing music. I think you have to learn how to begin and end a song.
Okay. Next question is, the way that I've written this is, what if I can't decide on an arrangement? So I suppose the question is, how do I decide an arrangement? Or, you know, is there a process where I can go, oh, I can select from these different types of arrangement? Or do you not think like that at all?
I do think like that a little bit, but not too much. I think arrangements usually figure themselves out. The more musicians you have bring into a song, usually help dictate that. You know, because they're always going to be saying, well, can we try this from just going from, how about this chord in here? How about this passing chord between the verse and the bridge or something? You know, that, and then all of a sudden you start to, those kinds of things dictate how the song gets arranged and built.
Okay, fair enough. That answers all of the questions, Gerald. Thank you very much for doing that.
All right.
And yeah, like I said, this is the final episode that I've planned for this. I might make another video at the end of it, so if anyone who's watching this, they might expect another email after this. But thanks again, Gerald, for answering all of the questions in all of the videos.
Great. Gives me a chance to see your mother's refrigerator, too.
Yeah, you know, because I'm down here just for Christmas, I was like, about half an hour ago, I was like trying to figure out where on earth I'm going to set this up and how is it going to look, but it's fine. It's all about you anyway.
Yeah.
Gerald, you're the talent.
You better push the no broadcast button.
Yeah, will do. Cheers, Gerald. See you next time.
Thanks.